and welcome to Psychology of Holidays. My name is Monika, and today we are going to talk about Christmas. Christmas is traditionally a merry and happy holiday, and it's almost worldwide. The traditions cover things like gathering together, sharing gifts and gratitude one with another, having very specific and traditional food, and of course having fun. And this is mostly what we mention and what we focus on when we talk to other people, when we say what we do during Christmas or before the Christmas or why the Christmas is important. But once we get into more private or more personal conversations, suddenly a whole new array of topics appears, and we start talking about so-called Christmas blues. We start talking about having conflicts with family members that we really did not expect to have, about being too lonely or about not being around the people that we wanted to be around during Christmas, and about having overall despair, not having the right gifts, the right people, the right activities, even the right weather. All in all, it accounts for having a specific state of mind, a specific emotional state that we call Christmas blues. So is it really Christmas merry and happy, or is it? Let's see what happens. First of all, we have very strong stereotypes of what the Christmas holidays should be. We have lots of symbolism, lots of traditions around Christmas, and we all know that Christmas is a Christmas tree, it's the specific cakes, maybe it's some other sorts of food. Now I'm trying to think of local examples, but everything that comes up to me is Lithuanian and probably will not make any sense in Denmark or India, but we have specific foods. We know that who should make these foods. We have the traditions. We know that we're supposed to have fun. We have a lot of ideas of what the holidays should be, but that doesn't mean that they have to be like that exactly. The expectations do not equal the reality, and we need to make a distinction in that in our mind. A lot of traditions are wrapped around the Christmas, and of course they always bring all these pleasant and fuzzy and warm feelings, but we also need to recognize that a lot of these traditions are used as marketing tools in a lot of industries. So whatever you hear on TV or you see on the internet or on social media doesn't mean that you need to feel like that or you should feel like that, because that's part of the persuasion techniques that marketing uses. It's not necessarily and automatically true what you hear. Another thing is that Christmas is traditionally considered to be a family holiday, and that's why the stereotypes, the social pressure to conform to the traditions is even stronger, because it's like given. You don't negotiate or you don't discuss the family traditions because it's like closest to the core of what you are. If you take like a historical look at all of that, the family traditions, they have changed throughout the time, and it's not always, even like the red-dressed Santa Claus wasn't always part of the family traditions, or Christmas tree, or specific foods. If you look at food history that has like 100 or 200 years of history only, well, I know when I say only 200 years, it's still a lot, but traditions change all the time. That doesn't mean that you are trying to preserve something really, really sacred. But that also means that you are free to define what is the new normal for you, for this time in human history, for this year even. And the tradition and the reality is what you make it. It doesn't mean that you need to be exactly like people were 100 years ago to be able to maintain and to keep up the Christmas traditions. And all of these pressures, the social pressure to conform to traditions, the family pressures, they always undeniably they induce one type of responsive behavior. People start to defend themselves. Defensive behavior, either it's regression or passive aggression or whatever else, is a very usual way to respond to any kind of suppression. So if you feel that you want to be against Christmas in any way or shape or form, that's quite normal, because you're feeling that you're being pressured into Christmas, and you don't want to succumb to this pressure. I briefly mentioned that it's family, and usually the pressure from your family members, like your mom asking, so what, you're not coming to my house at Christmas? You always used to come, that's our tradition, how I'm going to do things, like if you're not coming, it's not gonna be Christmas anymore, and you start feeling really sorry about the whole situation, about yourself, about your mom, about anything. So the family pressures usually are much stronger, and you are usually much less resilient against the family pressure, and Christmas is definitely one of these family celebrations that we have, and that's why the family pressures make so much more impact on each of us. So what to do? There are plenty of things to do. Let's see what is happening during the Christmas, and at the same time, what are you able to do to deal with all these kinds of pressures. First of all, every one of us will have a different Christmas interpretation. It's always very personal, even though the traditions are quite global, they are at least countrywide, and everybody has some idea of what Christmas should be like, but when you look even deeper, everyone has their own personal understanding of what Christmas should be. And the more pressure all the family members feel, the more pressure they will also put onto you to conform to their vision of what the Christmas should be, because they are trying to kind of save the Christmas spirit and make the Christmas the real Christmas. So at least be understanding that it's normal, it will happen, and your family members will do that. Please meet my cat. And it will always happen like that. A thing to do in a situation, at least if you notice that you are in a situation like that your mom, your dad, your sisters, your brothers are trying to push you into their vision of Christmas, is take an external observer point of view, become a kind of scientist, a researcher, and try to observe and listen, and try to notice what is happening around you, what kind of words people are saying, what kind of intentions lie behind their words. So you take a kind of external point of view, and that will definitely help you not to take it personally. You are just there observing how things are developing and how your family is trying to create a Christmas for everyone. Everyone will have their different points of view, but you don't have an obligation to participate in them. First of all, just try to take a step back and watch what's happening. When you're done with that and you still have some time and you have to listen to something that you're being told to do, imagine how it will go further. Try to forecast. Try to imagine different scenarios and alternatives. What if I say something? What if I don't say something? What if I do something? What if I leave? What if I stay? Whatever. Whatever will take your imagination's attention, whatever will keep your focus, do that. You can work mentally on the whole situation without actually participating in it, and it will decrease by a lot your mental anxiety and even sadness or depression if that comes afterwards. If you keep your mind focused on something else, something quite similar to what is going on, but not exactly being obliged to respond to your mom. So what have you done during this year, or things like that. You probably know your family all too well. You know how it's going to happen, that the prediction and the forecasting will not be such a difficult task. But having said that, you can also plan for a specific so-called cushions that will help you to alleviate the situation. You don't really need to, get into the fight if you know there will be one happening. You can decide beforehand, and it's really important to make these decisions ahead of time, so you are not emotionally already overstressed, that if they will ask you about, so when you're going to have your kids, or when you're going to get married, or when you're going to get a new house, or whatever that is the traditional questions in your family, just plan what you will answer. Plan how you will divert their attention to something else. Plan how you will ask something else. You don't need, there is no obligation to participate in all of the conversations that are either not pleasant or not useful, or they're just repetitive year after year after year in your family. plan for it ahead of time, and then you will be able to use it when the time comes. Also, just give yourself a right to say no, not to respond, or to say I'm not having children, I'm not buying a house, and it's really my right to decide when I'm going to do that, how I'm going to do that. You are not obliged to make your family happy, especially not at Christmas. This is not the way the Christmas goes. Your family should be able to accept anything that comes from you, and you have a right to say anything that you feel like. If you will be sincere, if you will be open, if you will explain your answer, that probably will be a much better and much more sincere conversation with your family members. Also, if you don't feel that this conversation will go right, you always have a right just to stop it right there and say, okay, who is hungry? Let's not talk about the houses and the children. But you need to be able to perform that, you need to plan for it ahead of time. What else helps? When you're monitoring the situation, just watching and observing, another good way to use your focus is try to identify, to name what is happening. Just label it. Now mom is feeling all sad because nobody likes her dishes, and she thinks that was her Christmas role to prepare many very tasty dishes, and nobody now notices that. So if she's sad about that, then probably it's a correct reaction to praise her on a lot of work that she has done, and that the herring is just as good as it always was, and you were dreaming about it all year long. Try to, while you analyze the situation, try to name things that again will keep your focus busy, that will keep your mind busy, and you will not have as much temptation to go into all of the sad emotional response that you usually have. If you don't have a family and if you feel lonely, again, it's a good idea to start labeling what is going on. What would you like to have? Are there any adjustment and adaptations, any substitutes that you can use? If you don't have a family but you know several other lonely friends, you can have your own family for Christmas. You can all gather together and have exactly the same celebration that you would have with your family. There are potentially always the substitutes for all the things that you might be missing. And at the end, if you still find things that you are missing, if you have covered like 17 things that you are missing, but just one is not possible to substitute, that doesn't really mean that your Christmas is not happening. You still have a lot of things that are going on for you, and you still can be happy about them. So you just need to weigh realistically what you're missing and whether that is a vital, significant, absolutely necessary part of Christmas if you have everything else. Even if you're all alone, you can keep calling all of your friends one after another on Skype or on Viber or whatever you use, and still have the nice warm conversations with the people that you would like to have. There is no need for you to stay all alone, sad, angry at the whole of the world if you have all of these options open. Only because you don't have things happening exactly the way you would like them to happen. If you take an active stand in whatever situation that you don't like, you will definitely feel a lot better. So if you don't have the Christmas, if Christmas that you want is not happening to you, you can always create the Christmas. You can create something that you can, or you create something that is completely new. You can go to the middle of the forest and stay all day long there, just in complete silence. You can visit all your friends, wearing a mask probably, or you can call if your friends, or you can go to a long trip, or you can do whatever. Nothing really limits you here. It might become your new best Christmas tradition if you start doing it this year, and it still doesn't mean that your Christmas is ruined, that you have to feel really bad or really sad about it. If you're stuck in family home, again, I talk more about that based on the frequency of conversations that I keep having with other people. Usually people feel bad about their family Christmas than about their lonely Christmas, but that still is applicable to both situations. But going back to family Christmas, if you feel stuck, that you have to sit on a sofa for 2 or 3 days in a row and listen to all the family being happy or unhappy or being pretentiously happy about anything, it is up to you to set boundaries. Nobody else will have enough resources, mental resources or emotional resources to think about how everyone in the family is feeling. So it is up to you to say no and to set the boundary and say, this is it, I'm just not listening to another conversation about, oh, why don't I have any children. It is up to you to get up, to go to the kitchen, to wash dishes, to volunteer for baking, to volunteer for any other chores. If you have, like, I don't know, cinnamon missing, and it's up to you to raise your hand and say, hey, I can go to the store and I can get some. It is up to you to take care of your own well-being when you are in a situation. You always have a choice. And if you don't remember anything else, that one single sentence might help you out. You always have a choice of what you can do in a specific situation. Nobody is keeping you tied to the sofa. Nobody makes you listen to your grandma talk about things that you don't want to hear. You can always say, sorry, I need to go to the bathroom. Sorry, I have to get up and go for a short walk. I'll be back in 10 minutes. I'll just go wash the dishes. Whatever. Use your imagination. And again, knowing your family, prepare for it beforehand. Prepare your cushions that will help you out in the difficult situations. You don't have to suffer through it. You can actually manage your time during the Christmas without being too unhappy or without feeling too much stuck. Try to focus not on your own bad feelings, but on how other people feel or how other people do, what kind of help other people need. It is really better, and people always feel much better when you can give to others than when they're waiting to get something from others. So that's again related to this taking an active stance, a control position in the specific situation. If you decide that you will go out and help your neighbors clean the snow, I don't know, or wrap their presents, or visit somebody who you know is lonely, that will be an active stance, that will be a control position, and that will make you feel better, instead of sitting down on a sofa and already knowing that this night will be horrible and you will have to listen to the things that you don't want to hear. That is a non-power position, and that will definitely make you feel worse than volunteering to help others for anything. Be creative here. Taking a control position always feels better than being in a powerless, helpless position. Another thing to keep your mind focused on, if you feel that the year was useless, worthless, nothing happened, you just stayed at home all time long, you achieved nothing, nothing was right, that usually is a misconception, that usually is an error in thinking. And in order to fix that, one of the good ways is to start listing the gifts that you already have. There definitely are many. Usually the trick of the emotional state when you're really sad is that you tend to focus only on negative things, and you quickly jump to conclusion that there is nothing good that has been happening in your life, which is always wrong. Try to at least balance. Yes, all of the bad things happened. The year sucked. We stayed at home. We didn't get to go to any concerts, operas, holidays, vacations, whatever. But maybe we saved some money. Maybe we spent some more time with our children and family, which was actually quality time. Maybe we stayed healthy. Maybe we didn't get to go to the intensive care and lay on our stomach with all the breathing equipment. That's good. Being alive is probably always the best choice that you can make if you have absolutely no ideas what to put in your gratitude list. At least you can list that. And after that, all the other ideas will come. You are alive, you are healthy, you have your legs, you have your hands, you have a job, you have some money, you have some food on your table, you have some roof over your head. It sounds stupid, first of all, when you start doing that, but you still need to start somewhere. And this is like a very good warm-up for your imagination and for your thinking. There are good things in your life, there always are. It's up to you to choose whether you see them or if you don't. Everybody has good things in their life. Other things to do. I still have a long list to go. What not to do, actually. That's the section, what it's called. If you notice that you sit in a corner, if you're all angry and sad and feeling hopeless, if you notice that, at least first of all, admit it, notice it, and try to switch your attention. This is a very not productive behavior, sulking and complaining, and you need to stop it immediately for it to stop taking away your mental resources and worsening your mood. Switch attention. Go wash dishes, go out for a walk, take a book. Even if you read a page of it, that's good. You switch your attention, that works. Switch your attention to something that you actually can do it. Mastery is an important component here. Switch to something that you know, guaranteed, that you can do it. You absolutely can wash dishes. There is no argument about that. So afterwards, after you're done, even if it's a single plate, you will feel a sense of achievement, and it will make your brain feel better because you'll get your tiny dose of dopamine and you will feel better. Clean your kitchen counter. Get your socks organized. Anything that you can achieve, anything that is simple and you can achieve, is a very good thing to do if you notice that you are just feeling sad and lonely and hopeless and whatever. Just a small task will help you out, and afterwards you'll want to keep repeating it. You'll want to get more of a pleasure in the similar manner, and you will switch to other tasks that will bring you a similar pleasure. After you wash your dishes, you'll probably want more to clean your kitchen counter. After you do that, you'll probably want to sort your socks and so on. So just allow yourself to continue in this fashion until you feel actually quite well achieved, and then when you feel better. Do not try to find some pleasure or fun or whatever in your phone. That is not a good way. All of the schemes in social media, they are built on dopamine, and it will just draw you in forever and ever. And actually after a while, when you wake up and you realize that you just spent an hour or 2 hours on Instagram, you will feel a lot worse. You probably know that from your own experience. That's not a surprise for you. But if you already know that it is not helpful, just don't do it. Of course, it's not as easy as that. You cannot just say to yourself, I'm not gonna do the Instagram thing and not do it. It will probably happen, but as soon as you notice it, stop doing it right away. Just switch off your phone, put it on your screen, and just stop doing it, at least for several seconds, and give yourself these several seconds to decide what would be a better idea to do right now. Instead of watching how other people are pretending to have a very nice Christmas, some of them probably are having a very nice Christmas, but most of the people on social media are pretending to have a very nice Christmas. You know that as well. So stop doing that and start doing something that will make you feel better. It doesn't need to be really Christmassy or something, but something that you can actually achieve. Any small achievement, having a clean plate, is already an achievement, and that will do the trick. That will switch you off from being miserable to wanting to actually do something. Do not open your work laptop. Don't start working. Again, if you're on duty, that doesn't apply to you. But if you officially have your Christmas holidays, if you have your days off, going to work is not a good idea. I know it is very tempting, because sense of achievement when you actually clean out your inbox, answer those emails that have been waiting for several weeks, or having finished this document that you had open forever, that will make you feel really, really good, and you actually are yearning to have this feeling. But that's not a good idea, because that's how you replace that. You ignore your intolerance to whatever is happening right now. It is a much better idea to learn to deal with Christmas than to learn to avoid Christmas. The work actually allows you to avoid Christmas, pretend that it's not happening, pretend that you're very busy with something else, that you're very important for this task and it needs to be done right now. No, it's not. Nobody's working on Christmas. There are no deadlines for Christmas. Nobody even plans for anything in December. It's not that important. Again, unless you're on duty. Otherwise, shut down your laptop and switch to whatever we discussed before that. Try to focus on what is happening here and now. Try to find good things in the Christmas, whatever Christmas you have, and try not to use work as an excuse not to build the strength in you to deal with Christmas, whatever Christmas you have. And besides that, if you're working, then you don't have this freedom in time and in effort and in your mind to create something new, something more meaningful for you as a Christmas. Maybe your whole family will enjoy that you read some old fairy tales for them during Christmas time, and that will become a new and very pleasant Christmas tradition, instead of, discussing the same old family matters. But if you don't try that, you'll never know. Maybe it's a completely wrong example for you. Maybe nobody likes fairy tales in your family, but that's just an example. If you work, you will never get a chance to try anything to change your Christmas into better. Maybe everyone doesn't like your family Christmas, but nobody does anything about it because everybody thinks that everybody else likes it. So in order to get out of this whole tangle of things that people think that other people think certain things, actually trying to do something is a much better idea. Just try. If it doesn't work, then you'll know that it doesn't work. But if it works, you might get a miracle, an actual Christmas miracle at this time. If you don't have any idea what to do, what to think, what to focus on, try simple breathing. That will bring your anxiety down. We discussed that during the stress lectures as well, but just try to take a breath, or 2, or 10, or whatever it takes. Calm and rhythmical breathing manages the anxiety on physiological level, but it will also help you to feel more relaxed, and maybe at that point you will just decide, whatever, I like Christmas on sofa as well. That's our tradition, and it's not bothering me. I probably should have listed that earlier, but still, very important thing. Don't try to eat your Christmas. Don't try to hide yourself in food. Having an extra cookie or an extra chicken leg or extra glass of wine is not going to create Christmas. It is going to make you feel better, definitely, because right after you eat something with sugar or with alcohol or with fat, it will make you feel happier because your brain produces the happiness hormones. That's how all drugs work. But that doesn't mean that your Christmas will become Christmas. That doesn't mean that you will be happy for 2 days in a row. You will be happy, let's say, for 5 minutes. And then you will have a down for about 30 minutes or so. And usually what people do during the holidays, they have this 5 minutes of happiness, and then they start feeling unhappy, and they thought, I ate a cookie and I feel better, so I need to eat another cookie. And then they end up eating 30, 40, whatever cookies, all of the chicken, all of the wine, and they are so full that they feel very uneasy about that, and then guilt kicks in, and they feel really bad about having eaten so much food. But that wasn't the solution from the very beginning. Food doesn't help. It's always nice, it's always very pleasant to eat some kind of Christmas food, and you keep up with traditions, and it's usually tastier than you have every day, but that's not how you create happiness. Christmas happiness comes before that, and food is just an extra detail to celebrate that. It is not the essence of Christmas, whether you have specific gingerbread cookies or you don't. Taste Christmas food, enjoy it, taste it in small quantities, and don't focus on it. It will not help you. If you notice that you're trying to make yourself happier with food, stop immediately, take a long break. Say that, okay, now it's, let's say, 12, so the next time I'll eat will be at 6, and every time you try to manage your unhappiness or your anxiety with food, just stop it immediately. One more bite will not do a miracle, and especially not a Christmas miracle. Do not try to buy Christmas. Any amount, any kind, any sort, any quality of gifts will not create a Christmas spirit. That's again a very popular tradition that is very much maintained by all kinds of marketing activities, but that is not the Christmas gift. When you think of gifts, try to take a different point of view. Gifts are tradition, but not an obligation. If you feel good about giving gifts, buying gifts, wrapping them, and looking at the reaction when people unwrap them, it's all fine. It's all part of the holiday spirit. If you don't feel good about that, that's not an obligation. Do not prepare yourself for unhappiness or despair or whatever whatever else from the negative emotion point of view. If you don't feel good about that, don't do it. Verbal gift is much better than money gift in any kind. If you will call all your relatives and you will say all these nice things that you want to say to them about the past year or about the whole life or about any kind of effort that they gave you, that will be great. That will be a much better gift than any t-shirt or mug or whatever else that you might have that they will never use. You don't have to buy physical gifts to be nice to people and to say thanks. So just a different point of view might help you out here. Also, if you don't feel like giving gifts to your family, or maybe you don't have a family, or you don't exchange gifts with your colleagues and with your friends, which is all fine, just giving during Christmas time will again make you feel a lot better, because it's overall atmosphere. Giving your time or your money or your efforts to any kind of charity, that we have plenty of those for Christmas time, will also create a good feeling for you. Don't exclude them from your considerations. It might be a very good Christmas tradition for you personally or for your whole family. It will actually teach your children to be kinder and more helpful and more positive to all the other people, and maybe that's why humanity will survive. So don't exclude things like that, even if you don't consider them to be traditional. It might be a very good tradition that you will start. What is okay to do and to feel during Christmas? It is absolutely okay to be alone and to be in a company. There is nothing wrong with either one of those. It is absolutely okay to be sad or to be happy. You might have your own different personal reasons, and it is not obligatory to feel happy around Christmas. You might feel happy and it will be fine, but you also might be sad and it will be fine as well. It's absolutely okay to be angry. It's absolutely okay to be peaceful. Both sides of the spectrum are fine. You have your own reasons, and you don't have an obligation to be only in one way, only peaceful during Christmas. It's absolutely okay to give plenty of gifts for everyone, for all the people that you know and don't know. It's absolutely okay to give no gifts. You don't have to be guilty or sorry or sad that you cannot do something. If you want to and you can, do it. If you don't want to, or if you can't, or both, don't do it. It's fine. You don't have to do anything else. It's absolutely okay to eat a lot during Christmas. It's absolutely okay to eat very little during the Christmas. It's your choice. As long as you don't give away this choice, as long as you don't think that it's up to Christmas to decide how much you should eat, it's fine. It's your decision. If you want just this one chicken leg or this one bowl of peas that you will have during Christmas, it's up to you. It's not up to your grandmother, it's not up to your mother, it's not up to Christmas traditions. It's up to you. What will make you happy, that it should be your choice. It's absolutely okay to make a lot of fuss about Christmas, to be all happy, to run around, to have lots of Christmas lights, to have fake Santas in your garden. It's fine. It's absolutely fine to have nothing during Christmas. It's absolutely fine to have a regular day, just have a single candle on your table and be happy about that. It's also absolutely fine not to have a candle on your table. You don't have to be forced to follow the tradition if you don't feel like it. The traditions are created by people, and you wouldn't imagine how many people probably feel exactly like you. And you, only if you speak about it openly and if you discuss it, you can create your own new tradition and follow it and make a lot of people happy. You don't have to follow anything that you don't feel like, especially during Christmas. It's absolutely okay to employ humor to deal with Christmas. It's absolutely fine to watch Monty Python. It's absolutely fine to watch all the warm and fuzzy or cheesy Christmas movies if you want to. If it makes you happy, do that. It's absolutely fine not to worry about any of the traditions. You don't have to do it. You have to give this permission to yourself. That's where feeling good about Christmas starts. You don't have to do anything that you feel you shouldn't. If you follow all the traditions and stay unhappy about it, that's probably the worst choice that you can make. It is much better not to follow anything and be happy about it than to sulk for 3, 5 days, for a week, for 2 weeks, until everyone has fun or pretends to have fun. But the choice, the decision is yours and yours alone. It is always personal, and that's where you take matters into your own hands. Not to have Christmas blues is first of all a decision and needs to be made by you. There are thousands of ways to celebrate things, and Christmas as well. You might find your own very personal, very individual meaning in Christmas. It might be your Christian Christmas, it might be your Nordic pagan Christmas, it might be Lithuanian pagan Christmas, it might be Buddhist, it might be whatever your is Christmas. But the meaning of any holiday is your personal one, and it is up to you to define it. Nobody else will define it for you. Traditions will help you, will guide you, maybe will force you, but it is up to you to make the last decision. It's not Christmas's fault that you're feeling bad. It is actually your decision that hasn't been made. So what you should focus on is to decide how you want to spend the Christmas and do as much as you can of it. Yeah, that's probably all of it. In my text I had prepared some more examples and ideas of what it can be. I got carried away, I guess, with the ideas of what you can do. Actually go through the list. Just the list of different traditions from different cultures are quite amazing in this context, and maybe going through them, just a simple web search or a Wikipedia read or whatever on how people celebrate Christmas will also open up your imagination and ideas of what you can do. I really like the idea, just the whole thought, that from Nordic mythology, during the Christmas, Odin rides across the sky. And that's why we celebrate this time of the year. I like the idea of Yule goat from Nordic mythology as well, and that is represented in many small symbols that are quite popular in Nordic countries. I really like the Lithuanian traditions of Christmas Eve. Especially emotional for me is the idea that the lost souls, the ones that nobody remembers, they are coming to people's homes, and that's why we light up candles to light the way for them. I really like the legend of the deer that has 9 antlers, and this deer brings a new sun for next year. The old sun kind of dies during the last days of the year, and this year brings a new sun, and along with it brings spring and fresh plants and new babies and new life in general. I really like the Finnish idea of Christmas, where they have a tradition to go to Christmas sauna and wash away all of the remnants of the old year and meet the new year fresh and clean. I actually also like all of the contemporary cultural approaches to Christmas. I don't know, South Park, Monty Python, whatever else. I really like the idea of going to end of year retreat if you're into yoga or mindful meditation or any other stuff similar to that. End of year trip also sounds really good, when you go and travel just for a week, going and visiting different places, which also is a celebration. It's a significant activity that you do, that you will not do on any other time of the year, as long as it brings you a sense of meaning and a sense of that you're celebrating something that's important to you. That's always good. So just think about that. Think about other things that you can create meaning for Christmas, and that will be something that will replace that Christmas blues in your mind. Christmas blues is just an emptiness. It's an empty place that is not filled with something. It's longing for something more meaningful, and it is up to you to find this meaning. For Christmas, for celebrations, for the specific holiday, for end of the year, for your life, for whatever you're actually longing for. Nobody else will create that for you. It's your decision only. So that's the end of what I wanted to say. I know this is a recording, but we will have a chance to take your questions afterwards, and you also can contact me personally. You know my name. You can Skype me or send me a Teams message. We can talk about holidays. We can talk about your emotional responses and anxiety and depression and tension and stress at work and whatever other psychology related questions you might have. I'll be very happy to help you out and to share what I know and what kind of tips and tricks might be helpful for you to deal with all things in life and this time of the year with Christmas. Having said that, have a merry and happy Christmas. Find your own Christmas that will make you happy. Thank you.